Hi, Godot User Group Berlin anniversary game jam was a pleasure. Nice time. I didn't actually expect we will do so much in such limited time. Just a few hours really. But I think we did quite a lot. And we came up with an idea to make a 3D platformer, third-person controlled, and on the level there's tapes, and when you collect a tape, music changes. Music have different tempo, and with that change in speed of the character, jump height, and level basically as well, like platforms moving faster and everything else. We didn't manage to put everything together as planned, but it was just a few hours. Quite like we had a solid idea, and we had a lot of discussions. And when I'm usually doing something, I tend to think about that a little bit after, not for long, so I rather would like to do this video and show my idea right away. If I'm to explain too much, let me know, or if I'm explaining too less, let me know as well. So my thoughts was really related to character first, but also Josef mentioned he had an idea people can do different stuff on the same framework, and it will be different games. So yeah, my thought about character, like kind of everything, tapes and music, don't really fit much this guy, and that because the template we used for platformer was my test idea or prototype of a game or platformer where you're not platforming too much, but it's much more about falling down. So it's kind of platformer about falling down. That's why the character have a scarf, and nope, not this one. That's why the character have this scarf, and I used reference, or because I thought about all that. So that's kind of character came up from this chimney sweeper, and the character from Journey, kind of to show up this fall down. So all of that, I'm just showing why character like that, and it don't really fit too much what we was talking about and what's the music and kind of rhythms and all that we was doing basically during the jam. So I'm kind of trying to fit everything. Was thinking about what could be a character that will fit. And my thought was, okay, we have the tapes, right? So I quickly had a Walkman, just 3D model from Sketchfab, and I thought maybe if it's so much about tapes, maybe the character could be the size of the Walkman. So it could be a small guy wearing Walkman on his back. So he's picking up tapes, music changes, and he also can change. So that's why I'm just really quickly throw up a bunch of metaballs in Blender. Metaballs is kind of balls which stick together. So it's kind of shapeless. Yeah, kind of idea a little bit. As a base, we have a quite shapeless guy, and with pickup of the tape, he's having shape more to what kind of music is playing, and his abilities can also change. So for example, he's picking up rap tape, and that will add a cap. A cap is just for fun, also just Sketchfab 3D model, but he can hopefully kind of be a little bit more like rapper, or towards the shape of the rapper, with keyframes or whatever. And yeah, I'm not sure which abilities it could be, but maybe if somebody would like to make a shooting game, sure, rapper can have this ability. That's quite strong ability, right? I personally don't like that too much, not too much. So let's get rid out of that. Grip, yeah. And let's imagine character picking up some other tape. Maybe it's yeah, maybe it's some music with which you can jump. Okay, I would like to, just a second, it's for some reason it's selecting everything. Yeah, so maybe with some music a character can be a little bit like a rabbit, maybe. So jump, long jump, or maybe even double jump, maybe with something else, double jump, I don't know. I thought just could be nice. So that's kind of shifting shapes and accessories. And maybe this, yeah, because it's Metaballs, as you can see, I thought maybe it could be Metaboy, the character name. But of course, with maybe some music, it could be girl as well. Kind of. Maybe not that much. Yeah, And maybe other abilities could be like really high speed movement. So pair of rollers can accompany that. Do I have something else? I don't think I have some other like really quick ideas, but hopefully people can come with something else. You can come with something else and join. Also, the character is dancing just for fun, just for fun. Forgot to mention the environment. So the character changing his abilities with music change, but environment can also change. So let's say the character, no, that's not a character. Let me select just the character. So the basic ability for the blob or shapeless guy, Metaboy, is not that. That could be nice, maybe. I'm trying to select just a Metaboy. Yeah, that's a collection for that actually. So the basic ability or basic mechanics, just like relatively slowly movement and jump, right? And then when the tape picked up, where's the head? Yeah, like this change happens, but also like level change from basic platforms to whatever relate to music change. And here just like also 3-minute example, basic platforms transforms to city, and now it's not just platforms but skyscrapers in the city. Yeah, so that's basically an idea to have a framework where different mechanics and environments, basically different games can be made with something we already have, and what can be gathered together to have a kind of bigger game with different stuff in that. So hopefully this will happen. Okay, so, see you. Bye.